Hello friends, Namaskar. This is Manoj Joshi. I invite you all to our WellnessByAllMeans Forum. So today we have a wonderful gentleman. His name is SIM Gopalan. He has been in the Silicon Valley for the last 25 years and he is an IT professional. He lives in Dublin with his two beautiful daughters. And he has got a lot of interest in non-profits apart from his tech job. So we are very fortunate to have him in our forum today. And let's welcome SIM Gopalanji. Hello, welcome sir, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much, Manojji, and thanks a lot, everybody. I'm really privileged to be part of this. And now, thank you.
Good. We just happened to have some common interest, and then he happened to attend to one of our mindfulness course offered in Rotary Club of Silicon Andhra University. And it has been a great opportunity for me to explore a lot of his interest, which is very, very common to our interest in creating Silicon Valley as a hub of health, transformation. Technology already there, but we are trying to add more of health and mindfulness elements to the Silicon Valley of California so that we can really make it as an example. And in that context, SIM Gopalanji has got a lot of expertise in the area of working with a lot of non-profit organizations like AADP, SEWA International, OSAAT. I know OSAAT for sure. SEWA International I know. So I have also worked with many of the non-profit organizations back in India a long time ago. But I always believe that together we can definitely make a change in the world. So welcome back again, and then tell us something about yourself, like how has been the journey so far?
Oh, yes, Manojji. I came to this country in 1992, actually. So a year after that, when I was doing my master's, I did realize that I heard that there is a cure for leukemia. I mean, till then, in my opinion, you know what leukemia is, a terminal illness, right? There is no cure. So when I heard about it, and I tried to find out then, and the solution was to give healthy stem cells from a person, a healthy person, to the patient, and then there is a really good chance of the patient surviving for several years, and then it's like a cure for leukemia. I really got impressed and then ran my first drive to try and find a match. The biggest challenge there is you have to, anybody cannot just go in and then donate their stem cells. There has to be a match, like a blood type match. But unfortunately, in this case, it's a HLA type match, which is extremely rare. So we need to have people, there is about 1 in a million chance sometimes, and 1 in 10,000 to 1 in a million chance. So we need to find out who would be a match. So there are registries set up to pre-test people and do that. So that to get people into the registry is what I'm really involved in. And so I started my journey into this nonprofit then. Little did I know, in 2010, my wife got diagnosed, and then she had leukemia. We could not find a match on time, and she passed in 2011. Since then, I really, really took it up as a big challenge to see we got to get. So we register thousands of donors right now. So that is one thing about associating with AADP as an organization, and then having more of this in the cancer-related thing. Then I work with the SIF Cancer Institute Foundation and Sri Shankara Cancer Foundation in Bangalore, and the Adyar Cancer Institution. That's what SIF is doing. So I do volunteer there and try and contribute my thing towards cancer. So that is part of the cancer journey. And then there are these other organizations like Community SEWA, an amazing organization which helps the homeless people, or rather I would say unhoused. I mean, I try not to use the term homeless, but unhoused. So when I got involved with an amazing organization started by Nathan Ganeshan and a lot of selfless volunteers. So when you go there and cook in the shelters and feed those people, that's when you realize, I mean, it's like most times we think these people are sometimes, substance abusers or somebody who just can't, but there is much, much more to that. So we need to learn more about it.
Like when we
Then
keep kind of things, like, we also become a little bit more aware of, like, what we have, because most of the time, if we have everything, we take it just for granted. We really do not become grateful for what we have, what God has given to us. So that is also another way to look at, like, empathy. And a lot of times we come with an own, pre-opinion, like, that's why the Black Lives Matters and all these different movements are happening, because we have to really become a little bit more empathetic and then see everybody from ground zero, like, what might have happened. That doesn't mean that they will continue to be like that forever. Everybody
exactly.
constantly in the journey of evolution. So if you
Right.
take it from that fresh look at point of view, without having a lot of opinions, preconceived ideas, we can definitely have a better position to understand each other and to work with each other. And that was the main cause of all the non-profits, I believe, like, to give us an alternative look point, alternative viewpoint, alternative perspective to life. What the common system is doing, government is doing, the non-profit are meant to find out an alternative path for economics or for finance or schools, education, food, shelter, healthcare, all these things. So that's called it's called a vikalp, like an alternative way of looking things. So that's great. So tell us a little bit more about OSAT, like how you have been involved.
Oh, yes. So WOSAT was started in 2003 by B.V. Jagdish and some of his friends. It's another amazing organization, very selfless. And then we focus there at WOSAT, we focus on rural government schools, where sometimes the buildings are all broken and they don't have toilet facilities and not much attention is paid there. So far, WOSAT has helped about 43 schools, building infrastructure, building classrooms and toilet facilities, and that has improved the quality of life of those rural children a lot. And so that's another really, really amazing organization I'm privileged to and blessed to be part of.
Yeah, I came to know about OSAT because my wife Gayatri and her students, so they performed a lot of Odissi dances in the past.
Exactly.
As a part of the fundraising activities in the Bay Area. So that's why we can talk about that. And that's great organization. A lot of things happens in the Silicon Valley Bay Area for the outer world. Now we are also trying to focus, like, how we can really become more healthier here itself in Silicon Valley, because a lot of stress, worries, anxieties, the panic attacks do happen because people work at high capacity here. People work with high stress here. So obviously it causes a lot of mental challenges. So tell us a little bit more about your journey with working with people or different organizations in the area of mental wellness.
Oh yes, exactly. I mean, it's like I have not actively associated myself as a core volunteer or an office bearer in any of these organizations, but I've been working on this for several years and trying to kind of work with them, identify and talk to a lot of people. When we come across, I mean, the surprising thing is we do come across people in our everyday life. We don't. I mean, to look outside, everything looks okay. But unfortunately, the challenge of mental health, there are a lot more people gone, and we have this taboo, and things don't come out much. So it is very important all of us have that knowledge to identify what people are going through and share. I mean, sharing is one very important aspect here, to share and try and see how we can help those people. So I have come across so far, I've been talking to quite a few people over several years, either with depression or ADHD or schizophrenia or PTSD. I mean, especially in the unhoused thing, you just come across people going through this. So when we see that, it's like, oh my God, how can we help them, right? We can cook and we can give food, and in other aspects also, the children, we can try and build rooms there, and we can help other organizations come up with mental health. So that's why I was really impressed when I started attending your mindfulness workshop, Manoj ji, recently. And the moment I sat through the first day of the workshop, I'm like, wow, all of us know that we have a lot of wealth of information in our culture itself, which can be used to help people in these aspects. So I was like, wow, there are so many things here. I mean, I may not understand the terminology as much, but the gist of it and the spirit of it. And I said, how can it be helped in all these other causes we are involved in? and thinking about it, how to meditation, yoga, or even the physical health building, or even having a sattvic what you say diet.
Yeah.
I mean, so many of these aspects can definitely help these people, and I have seen it being very helpful to people. So in that aspect, I think that mental health and also physical health both can be easily addressed by us being aware of all of these things, learning things like this in aspects, and putting it into practice and taking it over to the next generation. So those are my thoughts.
Because recently, because see, you, me, and many of the people, many of the friends who came in the 90s to the Silicon Valley, we have been here for the last 25, 30 years in the Silicon Valley. This is almost like a second home to us right now. And our kids are growing up right now. Some of them are in college, in high schools and all. So this is a great transition time while we all are having that freshness of the Indian culture and heritage in the Bay Area, and we have a responsibility to transfer it back to our children, and so that the culture will remain there. So from that point of view, I think it makes a lot of sense to think about the responsibility of what we should do right now so that we can build a future nation for another 50 years to 100 years. Because I believe the combination of the best of the East and the best of the West is the right thing right now. That is why when I talked to you and then you told me, like one of your friends challenged you, like, hey, can you get out of this white rice? Then right there itself, you make a sankalp, like, yes, I can do it. And then from that night itself, for the last couple of months right now, you completely got out of the white rice and got into the millet. And that's why our connection started. And then I'm also on a millet journey right now. And I'm exploring different recipes and different ways and how it can cleanse our body, how it can really create an alternative foundation for our health and safety, because a lot of adulteration has happened in the industrialized food production, milk, the wheat, the rice and sugar and all kind of things. I think we have to think differently. We have to think in a sustainable manner, like what exactly is the future of humanity here, like and how we can really sustain a healthier body. This body is designed to live for 120 years if we really properly take care of it. But look at the amount of cancer, the number of mental illness, the number of different kind of autism and all kind of brain functions, nervous diseases, all these things happening. And a lot of people have been growingly realizing that it's maybe because of the food that we have to eat. Food is definitely one of the most important aspects that is build us. So we are what we eat. So if we can take care of our food habits, if we can change a little bit more in that lifestyle patterns, walk a little bit more, take good food, good mood, all the things that we talked about in the mindfulness workshop make a lot of sense. Right now we have to create more awareness of it. So tell us more about what is your undertaking of how we can really build a community back in right here itself, here and now, so that we can make it an example for the future.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I'll before we come to that, let me tell you my experience, which might come slowly. So this happened a few years back. The white rice thing, as soon as I was talking to a friend of mine, and then he mentioned, how can we give up white rice, right? It is hard. Then I realized that, yes, every day I have white rice with rasam, sambar, and all of these things. Now, is it that difficult? And I came home, and that day I stopped white rice. Of course, when you go to parties, sometimes you can't help, but otherwise at home. Then I moved to brown rice and quinoa. And I was having quinoa and brown rice. Till recently, a friend of mine mentioned about millet. And I said, yeah, I know, we've been hearing about most of these things we already know, but the problem is, we need somebody else to come and tell us or remind us of that. Right. The moment she mentioned this about millet, and I'm like, wow, yeah, why don't I do that? And then Shasta Foods, I think everybody knows Shasta Foods. You're a nice gentleman. I mean, so honored to know him. You're a very big philanthropist too. So he had these millets given out on some of these events, non-profit organizations. So I started off there. Then I went, and now I have a box full of millets. I gave up quinoa, no, not even quinoa. I don't even have quinoa right now. It's all millets. And millets and this. And I realized after this COVID, during the COVID period, the first 2 months I didn't go out at all, and very less exercise. And since last year I realized I had put on quite some weight. I'm like, oh no, oh my God, I got to take action right now. And then
You're too skinny now.
Pardon me?
You look too skinny to me right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I lost what? I can admit 162 to 145 right now. So it is about 2 months.
2 months. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, starting June, right? So I went on all veggies and low carb diet and millets. And you can literally, as you mentioned, in millets, you can literally do anything with this. Now, once you get used to it, right now, I don't have the need to have any of the other things. That and then morning yoga for about 30 minutes to 45 minutes, breathing exercises. There was a lot of awakening I got from your talk about breathing exercises and how important it is. As it is, I used to practice Sudarshan Kriya once in a while, as I had. So this whole importance about breathing and yoga and the other exercises, I go walking 3 times a day. And it has just become a lifestyle right now. And I feel so well, so energetic. And I just got a blood test a couple days back. Amazingly, I have never had those readings earlier. I mean, I don't have, most readings are all normal typically, but there is this A1C which keeps lingering sometimes as to pre-diabetic. And I got a reading which I had never got so far. And all these are not, I was not starving myself. I wasn't doing anything. Anytime I'm hungry, I would just eat. I would. And I did not go with, I have to only have a keto diet for 15 days or anything. Anything like those. It's like low carb, and let us try and eat as much as good things. And trying to be aware of what is good, what is not is what we need.
I think that is all it matters. Like, we all are quite aware of things, but we may not be so much willing to make a trial. So I think that is where, and we have not challenged ourselves enough. I think if we take it as a challenge, we can do a lot of things in this life itself. Like if we become a little bit more careful, and that is all the teaching that we give is about self-awareness. So once we become aware of the potential inside our mind, our intelligence, this body which has been taken by the universe, by the nature for billions of years to prepare this wonderful body, I think we own too much of resources. We just have to become aware of who we are, come out of the body consciousness, and try to become a little bit more about how the nature is trying to give us different kind of lessons, directly or indirectly. So if we can pay attention to all these things, and today's class we will also do a little meditation about like how Lord Ganesha was worshipped yesterday, and then Lord Ganesha has got big ears, like his elephant head, very sharp eyes. So there are a lot of symbols in Indian mythology and then Indian stories. So a lot of things can be learned from the past, and then try to build up a little bit more of a amalgamation, I would say, with the modern technology. So all the wisdom of the past about the health and wellness, and bring it back to the Silicon Valley with the new technology, and how we can really make this biofeedback mechanisms or different kind of instruments that we can use. So with the proper blend of the modern psychology, the modern technology, and the ancient wisdom of yoga, mindfulness, will definitely give us more avenues for becoming healthy for a long period of time.
Definitely, yes, exactly. I mean, like you mentioned initially, there's empathy, gratitude, and then giving forward. These are the 3 slogans I go at. I mean, these kind of, we have a lot of things to be.
Repeat it again, sir. That will be our last word. So you said empathy,
gratitude, and then giving forward.
Paying forward.
Yes. Paying forward. Exactly.
Like these 3 mantras of SIM Gopalan ji today. We talked about how to build empathy inside us so that we can understand what people with difficult challenges are going through without having just an opinionated mind. Like if you become empathetic for them, and then everybody is in a journey, so automatically our heart will open up for a lot of these non-profit things, non-profit organizations that is working on different causes. So let's get a little bit more committed towards building a stronger community wherever we are. And let's try to give an example to the world that yes, we can do it together. And that is what the power of mindfulness, that is the power of self-awareness, and that is the power of how we can blend technology and spirituality together to make a better living right here and now. And thank you, Gopalanji. We'll interact with you more and more about your non-profit interest, and then we'll try to explore each of those interests separately on our different interviews. Thank you very much, and have
Thank
a
you very
wonderful
much,
day.
Manoj. Thanks a
Namaste.
lot for having me. Bye.